Tina, thank you. On BBC London tonight, 200 arrests in a crackdown on gangs using children to traffic drugs. Good evening, thanks for joining us. I'm Luxmy Gopal. Police say the cost of living crisis could put more young people at risk of being groomed by drug dealers. In the past week, the Met says it's closed down more than 70 networks known as county lines. That's where criminals use children to carry drugs around the UK. And it's often only when those teenagers go missing that families realise they're at risk. Here's our Home Affairs correspondent Sonia Jessup.
Early morning in Barking, police targeting suspected county line drug gangs. In the last week, the Met says they've made more than 200 arrests and seized more than £1 million of drugs. Crime, they say, is driving violence on the streets of London.
When we've looked back over the people that we've prosecuted for county lines, we've found that over 80% are previously known to police for serious violence offences, so homicide, GBH, firearms.
And it's children who are often groomed by gangs to carry drugs around the UK, controlled over a mobile phone network.
Go on, mate.
He looks a bit sketchy.
Safer Schools officer Ensikan Etuk has been teaching pupils to recognise the methods gangs use.
I can be giving them, literally buying them a meal and continuously just building up a relationship with them. And before they know it, they're just sucked in.
Officers have been delivering lessons like this at schools across London. Students here surprised to learn how easily children can be drawn to drug crime.
And now that I think about it, like with all the rewards and benefits that the groomers say that it comes with, it's something that's very possible and happening.
Even if you're scared to tell someone, there's always somebody that you can talk to.
And that is the message the Met is trying to get across. In the last year, they say they have rescued 28 children from county lines. One who was reported missing from London and discovered in a drugs den in Dundee. Police fear the rising cost of living could make children even more vulnerable.
One of the ways that young people could be drawn in is by the offer of cash or by the offer of being able to support your family. And so the cost of living crisis is a worry for us.
The Met says it's working with specialist services who offer that support. It says it's targeting those dangerous criminals higher up the chain. But officers know they need to reach young people before the gangs do. Sonia Jessup, BBC London.
Residents in Croydon will get their council tax bills shortly, showing an increase of 15% next year. It's what the Conservative mayor insists is necessary to help deal with the debt of £1.5 billion. Jason Perry told our political editor Tim Donovan he knows this hurts, but it's the only way back for Croydon.
We say to 15%.
Protests last night at the highest council tax rise in London this year, and in fact anywhere for around the last 20 years. And today the man who pushed it through insisted there was simply no choice.
Relief's not really the right word. There's a job to do here. The finances of this town have been in such a mess for such a long time.
Was this project fear at work for you to get the result you wanted?
No, it's project reality. I mean, the reality is Croydon's finances are one of the worst in the country, and the reality is we must set a budget, and there was only one budget on the table that could be voted on last night. No different scenario was brought forward by the opposition, no amendment was brought forward by the opposition, so it's the reality of there is only one budget here to be voted on, we must set a budget and we must vote on it.
In Croydon, the average household will now have to pay £235 more next year.
15% is a lot to ask people to pay, especially when everyone else in the country is only paying an extra 5. 15 is a lot, but something has to be done.
How we can afford? You see everything going up, the wages not going up, and the council tax is going to 15%. Yeah, we have to start praying now.
We pay so much money for the council tax. If we have more money, no.
Can't afford it?
No, we can't.
It is going to be difficult for people, and I totally appreciate that and understand that. And that's why we've put these extra measures in this year around a £2 million hardship fund to support those who need it most.
At the same time, you're also making big cuts, 36 million, a third of that on adult social care. How can you do that?
What we're doing is transforming services. So that 36 million is about transforming our services next year. So there will be some elements of cuts. There are cuts in there, but it's also about how we do things differently. How as a council, we probably do less going forward, but what we do well.
The Mayor has urged the government to write off as much of its £1.5 billion debt as possible. This, he says, is just the beginning of a long, difficult journey. Tim Donovan, BBC London.
A park 3 times the size of Trafalgar Square will be created outside Farringdon Station and the new Museum of London, if plans to transform the West Smithfield area are approved. Proposals from the City of London Corporation include creating green squares, pedestrianised courtyards and space for new cafes and restaurants. Time for the weather now. Spring feels like it's a long way off, doesn't it? Let's get the forecast from Stav.
Hello there. It looks like it's going to turn more unsettled but milder as we move through the weekend. However, it will be turning colder as we head through tomorrow. Now, a lot of rain around through this evening and overnight. Some heavy bursts around, maybe even some rumbles of thunder. Temperature-wise, not too bad, around 6 or 7 degrees, but it will be turning colder as we head into Friday morning. So it starts off quite wet. Again, some of the rain heavy, but then it turns windy. Strong northerly winds introducing colder air. Some of the rain will turn a little bit sleety, but into the afternoon, the winds should ease. Bit of sunshine, around 1 or 2 showers, but it will be much colder. Temperatures only 3 or 4 Celsius. But it does turn milder through Sunday and into next week. But with low pressure nearby, it will remain unsettled. Take care.
Well, that's about it from us. But Thomas will be here tomorrow morning with your news, travel and weather. But from all of us here on the BBC London Late Team, have a very good night.